But before we actually begin, be sure to hit that bell notification icon and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any updates from us. So, today we're going to be discussing the career opportunities that you have in the cybersecurity field, the salary in cybersecurity related jobs, the scope of this particular domain, and the resources. How are you going to prepare to become a cybersecurity professional in any job role? So, firstly, let us go through a little bit of introduction. Let us understand what cybersecurity is, the importance of cybersecurity in today's space. So, first of all, the term cybersecurity, what does it mean? Cybersecurity is the field that deals with enacting countermeasures against attacks, disruptions, and theft against and through technical systems via the means of hacking. So basically, in today's day and age of technology, where everything is essentially online, you make your business transactions online, you have your social media accounts online, and all of those things. Cybersecurity is the field, is the domain that essentially deals with all of the bad elements, all of the malicious elements, these hackers who are trying to hack into these secure systems to get your data, get your money, or basically cause harm in your day to day life. And a cybersecurity professional is an individual who basically prevents all of this from happening, who basically safeguards these systems and companies and organizations or social media, basically. So we need to understand what hacking is because earlier on I talked about hacking, right? So it is important to note that there are distinctions between different sorts of hacking. But firstly, hacking as a terminology, it is gaining unauthorized access to a computer system or network. So basically, getting into something that you're not supposed to by traditional means. And say if you're a hacker and there's a target system that you need to hack, usually what will happen is there will be some security measures put into place between the target system and the hacker. Now it is the hacker's job to either bypass these security measures or crack through these security measures, right? And then get your money, access your data, or do any other sort of malicious thing that the hacker was supposed to do. It's not necessarily malicious as well, which we will learn about in a bit. So, firstly, let us take an example of the Shamoon cyber attack that happened once, just to display the sheer magnitude of what hacking can do, right? So, in 2012, the Shamoon computer virus, also known as the W32 disk track, because it affected Windows NET systems, 32-bit, it was used against Saudi Arabia's national oil companies. Now, as you know, in the Middle Eastern countries, oil is king and oil is the main source of their economy. So, a group named the Cutting Sword of Justice claimed responsibility for this attack, and it affected about 35,000 Saudi Aramco workstations. Now, Saudi Aramco is their oil company, the petroleum company, one of those petroleum companies which were affected, causing the company to spend more than a week restoring their services. Now, you can imagine for a company that size dealing with this much oil, a week of inability to operate in business, how much loss it can cause basically to their stock prices or basically anything else as well. So this was termed as the biggest hack in history due to the sheer scale of this particular attack. Now, we understand what hacking can do. Essentially, what the Shamoon cyber attack tells us is that hacking is not to be taken lightly, right? So, we need countermeasures against this. So, this is why organizations need information security. Uh, Another example, if we take up, say, if we take Google's example, right? In essentially 2018, there was a data leak in Google Plus, which is now a defunct service that Google used to provide. It was a competitor to Facebook, essentially. And what this exploit did that Google Plus had, it leaked the information of about 500,000 users because of a software glitch given by due to third party applications. So essentially, this made Google susceptible to a lot of lawsuits, and finally, Google had to settle with the lawsuit. at about $7.5 million. So we're also talking about a huge amount of liability as well if the service that you're providing is not 100% secure. So that is why we need countermeasures against these particular hacking attacks. Now, we understand the importance of cybersecurity, why companies need cybersecurity in their infrastructure. So, let us understand what are the career options that are available to an individual aspiring for a cybersecurity role. So there are a lot of options available to you. So we're going to be discussing some of those. So there are options in the form of formal employments, right? These are basically jobs that you can basically sign up for depending on the availability in a company. So three of these jobs would include cybersecurity analyst. Now, this is the prime role in the cybersecurity department. And cybersecurity analysts are individuals who are tasked with implementing security measures across their employers' computer networks or systems. Then we have the job role of security engineer. Now, this particular job role is directly related to software development. These particular individuals implement security features in the software development phase itself or the software maintenance phase. So these individuals make sure that the software that is being built has the appropriate security features in place. And then we have the penetration tester. Now, the penetration tester is a synonym for an attacker, except this particular attacker is a white hat hacker. This hacker hacks their own employer's system with their permission, and whatever he's able to hack, he basically generates a report for that. He writes down a report for that. He writes down the exact steps he took to hack into the system, and then he submits that report to his employer. And then when the employer looks at that report, the employer has the option to security patch all of those flaws and exploits. So that is the job role of a penetration tester. Now, the most popular job role, the hacker job role over here, is penetration tester, and we're going to be discussing how you can get into that particular job role as well as we move further with this particular session. So there are also other job roles. Now, these are more part-time job roles or sort of freelance job roles available in the cybersecurity domain. These are called bug bounties. Now, the good thing about bug bounties is that they are completely legal. So, if you are an independent penetration tester, which we just discussed what a penetration tester is, if you're an independent one, if you do it for freelance, you can basically log on to a bounty list website. Now, for example, the one of the most popular bounty list websites is BugCrowd. It's the crowdsourced bounty list website, and a lot of medium organizations and popular organizations as well post bounties on this website. Now, what these bounties are essentially that these organizations say that I am applying onto this BugCrowd website, and you are allowed to hack me under certain conditions. So, firstly, the hacker, the independent penetration tester, has to read the terms and conditions of the bounty. So, these companies will provide the terms and conditions at which you are allowed to hack into their systems. Once the penetration tester reads through that, basically assesses all of his legal liabilities in hacking this particular organization, then the tester can execute the bounty, which means he will try to or hack into the system that the bounty is being posted for. And once the system has been hacked and the penetration tester is essentially successful in his task, he can then submit the report to the company. Now, the company will pay that penetration tester, or better, the company may hire that penetration tester as well. So, this is the entire task of bug bounties. You hack into a company, you tell the company how you hacked into them, and the company will pay you or hire you. So, that is how bug bounties work. So let us talk about an example of a job role. Now we're going to be talking about a job role called the cybersecurity engineer, which is available at Dell. So this is picked straight up from a Dell listing. So we'll look at what Dell wants of you as a cybersecurity engineer. So let us look at the first point. Perform security testing to identify weaknesses and countermeasures and providing timely assessment reports to key stakeholders. So you'll essentially be running a certain amount of test cases onto the employer's system, and you'll identify all of the weaknesses that are present in the systems and then generate a report and report it to your employers. Then conduct attack surface reviews and recommend layered defenses to prevent exploits, detect and intercept attacks, and discover threat agents. So basically, your task would also be to study all of the possible attacks that are possible on your system. And according to that, you'll recommend all of the defenses that can be applied to prevent such attacks. Perform complex security test data analysis in support of security vulnerability assessment processes, including root cause analysis. So, based on the security testing data available to you, your penetration testing will happen, and you'll basically assess all of the security features of your particular organization's website or web application. And then, depending on what sort of exploits are available, you'll conduct a root cause analysis as to find out the root cause of why those exploits are available, and then eventually try to patch it up. And also, the other task that would be included would be to monitor vulnerability disclosure mailing lists and threat intelligence feeds to identify and triage new threats and vulnerabilities targeting VMware. So essentially, ensuring that all of the information that is being circulated within the company is completely confidential. It is not being sent to anybody who is outside the circle, and essentially preventing any sort of information leak or preventing any sort of confidential information to get leaked into the hands of the hackers, so that they have information to attack your system or get access to your system, and serve as an escalation points on issues, dependencies, and risks related to security testing and vulnerability management. So, also, the job of a cybersecurity engineer is to ensure that whatever tests that you, as a cybersecurity engineer, or your team is performing, is not actually causing any issues or security threats to the company itself in real time. So these are the tasks that would be given to you as a cybersecurity engineer. So this is one of the job roles available for Dell right now. So let us look at the salary of a cybersecurity professional. Now, in most cases, a cybersecurity professional would be a certified ethical hacker, and the salary of a certified ethical hacker is in the averages of $75,000 in the United States. In India, it's about 7 lakhs per annum. And in the UK, it's about £46,000. Now, keep in mind that this is not the starting salary and this is not the end salary of a certified ethical hacker. This is the average point. So, if you get more experienced in your domain, so as you gather experience, you can get your salary increased as well. It depends on the quality of hacking you do, and depends on the quality of testing and security analysis that you can perform. So, what do you need to learn in order to get into this field, in order to get into information security, or more so if you want to get into the more complex fields like ethical hacking and penetration testing? So there are certain skills that are required. Absolutely. The first skill would be operating systems. Now, as you guys know, in the networks that are available today, these computer networks, a lot of devices can be connected through Wi-Fi and through Ethernet cables. These devices can have multiple operating systems. Now, one device can have a Windows operating system, the other device can have Linux, the other device can have Mac OS, and the mobile phones can be connected as well, such as Android mobile phones or iOS mobile phones. So you need to know your way around the command lines of these operating systems and how they function at a fundamental level in order to understand how you can hack into them. So operating system knowledge is very much required. Then you have scripting. Now, for more complex hacks which require scripts, you need to be familiar with at least one programming language and one database language. So you need to be familiar with either JavaScript, C, Sharp, or Python. So these are scripting languages. You need to know how to write scripts in order to hack into a system or perform any sort of vulnerability testing. And you need to know about SQL or no SQL, because you'll also be performing database hacking if you're ensuring the security of a particular website or a web application, because every web application maintains a database. So you need to be able to test those databases as well in order to successfully run your job as a penetration tester. Then you have networking. So obviously, most hacks take place within networks. So if a hacker has access to your network, he'll be able to get into the system, and you need to know your networking concepts really well in order to penetration test networks. You need to know the fundamental concepts of networking. You need to know how routers work, how switches work, what is subnetting, and all of these key concepts in order to basically understand how you can get into those systems present within that network. Now, this is not casual knowledge. If you want to go further and further into this particular domain, you need to have extensive knowledge of all of these topics. You need to know operating systems extensively. You need to know one scripting language and one database language extensively, although more would always help. And you need to know how networking works and how you can configure networking devices. So, how to get started with cybersecurity? Now, the best way to get started with cybersecurity is to get a certification, which is the Certified Ethical Hacker Certification. Now, this is a certification which is industry accepted and has been endorsed by a lot of national agencies as well, which deal with national security, such as the United States Army, United States Navy, United States security agencies, and whatnot. And it is an industry accepted accolade essentially, and has been endorsed by a lot of companies. So people who are certified as certified ethical hackers by the EC Council, they can land a job pretty easily if they have the experience and if they had the skills that are required to get into those fields. Now, the certification is obtained by demonstrating knowledge of key hacking skills to assess security and vulnerabilities in target system in a lawful and legitimate manner. So, all of the hacks that you're going to perform after this particular certification are going to be legal. So either they're going to be bug bounties, or they're going to be formal employment roles where the companies that you're going to hack, you're going to ask permission from them, or they're going to hire you to essentially do the same thing. So, what are the minimum qualifications for the certification? What makes you eligible to give this certification exam? So, the first way that you are eligible is with training. So, if a candidate has completed an official EC Council training, either at an accredited training center or at an approved academic institution, the candidate would be eligible to attempt the relevant EC Council exam. So essentially, you are not allowed to give this exam on scratch without any training. So you need to get your training from an EC Council accredited training center or any academic institution that EC Council has pre-approved. You cannot simply go directly and give this exam. The other option would be without training. Now, without training, you need to have minimum of 2 years of experience in the information security domain, and you should be able to provide the proof of this experience. So either you can give the experience letter or any sort of certificate that essentially proves that you worked in this particular domain for 2 years. So these are the two options in which you can go about your career in ethical hacking or cybersecurity in general, and essentially get started with it. So let us talk about the CEH certification training. So earlier we talked about how you can appear for this particular exam, which is the CEH exam. Now there are two ways to go about it. First would be with 2 years of experience. If you don't have that, then you have the EC Council accredited training. So in this particular field, in Telepath, we have been accredited by the EC Council. We provide training for this particular course. So if you're interested in this particular domain, if you're interested in ethical hacking or the CEH certification, you can hop on to intellipaat.com and type in CEH in the search box, and this course will be presented to you. You can check out the syllabus. You can download the complex syllabus in PDF format and look into it, and essentially decide whether you want to go ahead with this course or not, and contact our course advisors accordingly. So These are the details for our 24/7 available course advisors. So if you have any doubts with regards to this certified ethical hacker certification training program or any other course that we provide at Intellipaat, you can contact our course advisors for that. And please be sure to sign up for our webinar to essentially ask us doubts live or outside of these sessions. So after the session ends, if you want to ask us any live doubts or anything, you can basically go ahead and sign up for the webinar. The link for the sign up is in the description of this video, so make sure you sign up for that. And uh, don't miss out on the opportunity to ask us any questions. So these are the contact details. I hope you've had a wonderful session. So this is a goodbye from Intellipaat. We hope to see you again next time.